A broken spirit dries the bones. Emotions can make you ill. They can make the hair fall out by the handful. I know that. I know that by experience. They can bring splitting headaches, clogged nasal passage, make eyes and nose water with asthma and allergy, tighten the throat with laryngitis, and make skin breakouts. I know some people who they get rashes when they're in a stressful situation. Even cause teeth to drop out. Wow, everybody's like, ooh. Don't get upset, y'all. Okay. Emotions can cause ulcers, miscarriages, impotency. Emotions can kill. So, you know, that's why we need the fruit of self-control. We need to keep ourselves in control. Verse 23 says that the wicked take secret bribes to pervert the course of justice. We talked about this quite a bit last week too, about bribes. A wicked man accepts bribes behind the back to influence the decision of the judge in his favor. Wisdom, 24 says, wisdom in the sight of him who has understanding, but the eyes of a fool. Wisdom is in the inside of him who has understanding, but the eyes of the fool are on the ends of the earth. Now what this is saying, that a man of understanding sets wisdom as a goal before his eyes, and he goes right toward it. He's seeking the wisdom of God. A fool has no definite ambition. Rather than searching for wisdom, which requires discipline, his eyes wander in fantasy all over the world. There's no set goals. Foolish children bring grief to their fathers and bitterness to the one who gave birth to them. Now, you know, there's a lot in there that talks about children, and a lot of talking about morality, our actions and things like that. But it says a lot about young people, about children. So it's important that we take note of this, because it's important how the information and how we instruct our children so that they can have the best advantage, they can have the best opportunity to be all that God has created them to be. In verse 26 it said, it is wrong to punish the godly for being good or flog leaders for being honest. Now this perversion of justice takes place every day in our times. This, you know, the good are punished, and the honest, you know, people who are honest and good, they seem to get the short end of the stick, so to speak. And there's a perversion of justice. And I think that I mentioned that, how that, you know, somebody can get off because of a technicality, even though there's complete evidence that they're guilty of a situation. And then somebody who didn't do anything, and because they get caught up in the system of it, you know, they're headed for nothing but trouble. A truly wise person uses few words, and a person with understanding is even-tempered. Rash speech and quick temper betrays a shallow character. Rash speech and a quick temper shows shallow character. Even a fool is counted wise when he holds his peace. When he shuts his lips, he is considered perceptive. Now, you can't tell a fool by his facial appearance. You say he looked like a fool, but that's not the okay, you can't tell him by a facial appearance. So y'all gonna get this healthy, okay, you know, tonight. He might look wise. With closed lips, he may be counted sensible. That's Moffat translation says, with closed lips, he may be counted sensible. Now, at times, it is better to keep your mouth shut and let people wonder if you're a fool than to open it and remove all doubt. It is usually in talking that foolishness is revealed. It is good judgment to be silent if you don't have anything to say. That makes sense, okay? Now, chapter 18. We finished up chapter 17, chapter 18. Now, what I want to kind of remind us what we're really dealing with, because starting in chapter 10 through chapter 22, we're dealing with these are the Proverbs that are written by Solomon. They were actually all his proverbs that were written. Prior to that, some of them he quoted from other people, but these are the proverbs that Solomon wrote. And he dealt with righteousness and wicked lifestyle, and up to this point. And these we're looking at beginning in chapter 16. What we've been comparing is righteous and wicked lifestyle being contrasted. Now, starting in this chapter 16, we were looking at the righteous lifestyle being exalted, because you notice that there were a lot of things that talk about, doing things the right way. This is the right way to do it, and comparing it to what is wrong. So in chapter 18, we're continuing that conversation. A man who isolates himself seeks his own desire. He rages against all wise judgment. Now this Proverbs is talking about a person who cuts himself off from others will soon be out of step with everyone. A person who cuts himself off from others will be out of step with everyone. Such a person is intolerant of anyone who disagrees with him. He finds fault with all wise judgment. That is like a recluse, a person who cannot deal with other people. It's his way and nobody's way, and he has no tolerance for other people. A fool has no delight in understanding, but expresses his own heart. A fool, and mind you, keep in mind, we're talking about a fool, according to the scriptures, who rejects God. A fool refuses to listen to people with understanding. He's only interested in displaying what he is unwise. He is compulsive. He's a compulsive talker and never listens. Now this fool is a compulsive talker and never listens, because he is planning what he will say next. Have you ever talked to somebody and you know they weren't listening to you? Because you can tell by what they said next, they didn't hear a word you said. Every word he speaks confirms what a fool he is. When the wicked comes, contempt comes also, and with dishonor comes reproach. Now this is another way of saying that outward shame and reproach comes on the heels of inward wickedness and baseness. Another translation says it this way: doing wrong leads to disgrace, and scandalous behavior brings contempt. And that word contempt means scorn, disdain, disrespect, disgust, and even hatred, and many other words, but I only selected a few. So doing wrong leads to disgrace, and scandalous behavior brings contempt.